Hello friend, my name is Devashish Bhavsar. I am from 11th Science studying in Gaikwad Junior College, Saraswati Nagar, Nashik. I am here today to represent my model Environment Protection and Climate Change Water Sources, guided by Bharati Gaikwad ma'am. Water sources are the natural resources of water that are potentially useful. Uses of water includes agriculture, industrial, household, recreational and environment activities. 97% of the water on the earth is salt water and 3% of the water is fresh water. And sadly two-thirds of the water is frozen water found in glaciers and polar ice caps. The remaining unfrozen fresh water is found in as underground water or small fraction found on ground or in the air. There are two types of sources of water. Natural sources such water includes rivers, lakes, freshwater wetlands, etc. And second is under river flow and hypertonic flow. Third and fourth is groundwater. And fifth, frozen water. And in man-made sources of water, they include dams, reservoirs, etc., which are made by the man to easily access the water sources as needed. The water uses in agriculture. The water it is estimated that 70% of the worldwide water is used in irrigation, with 15 to 35% of irrigation is withdrawal being unsustainable. Industries also contributes. It is estimated that 22% of world water is used by industries. Major industry includes hydroelectrical dams, electrical power plants which uses water for cooling, ore and oil refineries which use water in chemical processes, and manufacturing plants which uses water as solvent. Water withdrawal can be very high for certain industries, but consumption is much lower than the agriculture. The precise water is also used in water blasting and water jet cutters, and they are relatively safe, and there is no environmental damage as the water can be used again. The third use is domestic uses, household. It is estimated that 8% of the worldwide water is used for domestic purposes. That includes drinking water, bathing, cooking, toilet flushing, cleaning, laundry, gardening, etc. The basic domestic water requirement has been estimated by Peter Glink at around 50 liters per person daily, excluding water for gardens. But 844 million people still lack even basic drinking water services in 2017. Of those, 1 to 59 million people worldwide drink water directly from the surface water sources such as lakes and streams. The challenges and threats. Water scarcity and water shortages are the major challenges faced by humanity in today's world. Water scarcity is a lack of fresh water resources to meet the standard demand. Humanity is facing a water crisis due to unequal distribution of water accelerated by the climate change, resulting in some wet and very dry geographical locations, plus a sharp rise in the global fresh water demand in recent decades driven by industries. Water scarcity is also caused by droughts, lack of rainfall, or due to pollution. Two-thirds of the global population, around 4 billion people, lives under the condition of severe water scarcity. At least one month of the year, and half a billion people experience water scarcity around the year. The half of the world's largest city are experiencing water scarcity. The essence of the global water scarcity is the geographical and temporal mismatch between fresh water is demand and availability. Pollutions and water protection. Many pollutants threaten the water supply, but the most widespread and especially in developing countries is the discharge of raw sewage into natural water sources. This method is of this sewage disposal is most common in underdeveloped countries. Sewage, sludge, garbage, and even toxic pollutant are dumped into the water. Even if the sewage is treated, the problem still arises. Treated sewage from sludge, which may be placed in landfills, spread out on lands and incinerated and dumped at sea. In addition to sewage, non-point sources of pollution such as agriculture, runoff is a significant sources of water of pollution in some parts. The world, along with the urban storm water runoffs and chemical waste dumped by industries and government. Here in the chart we can see that fresh water contributes 2.5% of the water around the world, other saline water 0.9%, oceans 96.5%, surface and other fresh water 1.2%, groundwater contributes 31.1%, glaciers and ice caps contribute 68.7%, Earth atmosphere 3.0%, lakes and 20.9%, ground ice and permafrost 96.0%, living things 0.26%, rivers 0.49%, swamps, marshes 2.6%, soil moisture 3.8% contributes to the total sources of water around the earth. Here we can see that here is my model of environment protection and climate change sources, water sources. Here we can see mountains, houses, lake, ponds, well, and sea. When the rainfall occurs on mountains, the water from the streams goes directly meets the river, from where the river gets connected to lakes and ponds, and the remaining runoff of the water goes directly to the sea. If we can manage the water that's going to the sea, we can save a lot of water, which can be used in more efficient manner. If we capture the running water and covering the top of the lakes and ponds, which can and limiting the factor of evaporating the waters in summer, which can save a lot of water, which can be used in farming and other uses during summer, where there is a lots of scarcity of water during that time. And the water varieties and water from the sea can be desalinized and can be used again as fresh water by putting some industries, and that can be very helpful for solving the world water crisis, scarcity water crisis. As we can see in this chart, 96% of the water is contributed by the oceans, which is salty. If we convert this salty water into fresh water, lots of volume of the world can be solved by this factor, but the conversion is expensive. If we can reduce the cost of the conversion, we can solve the world scarcity of water. Thank you for listening to my project.